This episode is supported by Stamps.com, where you can buy and print official U.S. postage, any letter, any package, using your own computer and printer. For a 4-week trial and a special $110 bonus offer, go to Stamps.com, click on the mic, and enter the promo code HERD. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles. What a show today on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Christine Leahy is joining me. All sorts of news to be made on this show today.
You were on the phone quite a bit this morning in our little makeup room session.
30 minutes of sourcing, what you usually do in the morning. Let me start our show with this, a developing story. Maverick Carter, one of LeBron James' associates and his closest friend, will join us in 90 minutes. Sports, we just saw it in politics, business is all about power and money. People don't like to relinquish power. People get uncomfortable when they lose power. And they really get uncomfortable when they've had power for years and years and years. And young people come in with a different mindset. And they don't think like the older people do. And they don't work like the older people do. And the old people are the establishment. That's what they call them in any business. They're the establishment. And the establishment is, we've got rules here, the way the business is run. And 12 years ago, LeBron came into the league with two of his friends, Maverick Carter, Rich Paul. They didn't use a big agency. Like a CAA. Great agency, it's mine. They didn't use it. They didn't call up Harvard attorneys. No, they said, we're LeBron's friend. We're going to build a brand. And 12 years later, there is nothing in America like it. Lifetime deal with Nike. They were the original investors in Beats, which sold for over $1 billion. Warner Brothers, pizza chains. There is nothing in America like it. And they have upset the establishment. Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. I mean, those guys have been the NBA for 25, 30 years. Since I was, like a teenager. Pat Riley and Phil Jackson have been hogging up all the titles. And they've also hogged up all the power. But the world changes. And Phil Jackson, a very, very smart man, was talking yesterday about LeBron James, Pat Riley, and how it ended in Miami. And I'm going to read you this verbatim. It had to hurt, said Phil Jackson, when they lost LeBron. That was definitely a slap in the face. But there were a lot of things that came out of that. When LeBron was playing with the Heat, they went to Cleveland, and he wanted to spend the night. They don't do overnights in Miami. Teams just don't do that. So now Spoelstra, the coach, had to text Pat Riley and say, hey, what do I do in this situation? And Pat, who has iron fist rules, answers them. Quote, you are on the plane. You are with the team. You can't hold up the whole team because you and your mom and your posse want to spend an extra night in Cleveland. Posse. Oh, that's a dig. Oh, that's disrespectful. Oh, that's demeaning. And Pat Riley knew it. I'll stay out of the racial topic because even Maverick Carter said, I don't think Phil Jackson's racist. But go back to Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cavs' letter when LeBron left. Go back to some of the wording with Pat Riley when LeBron left. Go back to Phil Jackson using posse. That's powerful older men not liking the establishment, not controlling a situation. Posse is a way to marginalize real business associates who 12 years in have built an impeccable brand. They have not been perfect. Nobody's brand is. You really think Peyton eats Oreos? You really buy into Michael Jordan and hot dogs? There's the occasional money grab. There's the commercial that's not as funny as you think. But 12 years in, LeBron's a good dude, considering his power in the world in the same class as Cristiano Ronaldo or a Messi or a Michael Jordan. Phil Jackson, and I have a rule on this show, smart guys, and Phil Jackson is smart, can't conveniently play dumb. Calling Maverick Carter and LeBron's associates 12 years of excellence in business, calling them a posse is a way to make them look small. It's a cheap shot. LeBron this morning was asked about it. Dave McMiniman at my former network asked LeBron about Phil Jackson. LeBron said, I had nothing but respect for him as a coach. Had respect? LeBron, yeah. Until now, LeBron, yeah. I know LeBron's guys. Not particularly well. I know Maverick pretty well. He was a fan of the show. Came by ESPN one day. We hung out for an afternoon. Smart dude. Gets it. He's a smart dude. You don't have to work at a big agency to be a smart dude. You don't have to go to a prep school. You don't have to go to Harvard. Smart dude's a smart dude. He's street smart. He's smart. And they have run LeBron's business really shrewdly, and the establishment doesn't like it. They've also, beyond the lifetime deal at Nike, beyond the Warner Brothers deal, beyond the Beats deal, movies, pizza chains, they have created an agency called Clutch, which represents Ben Simmons, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, and others. And Phil Jackson knew using posse was demeaning. Absolutely 100% knew it would shrink them, marginalize them, make them look small. The establishment not liking the young guys, the smart young guys who are going to do it their way and not going to do it your way. And they don't like it. And Pat Riley didn't like it. And Dan Gilbert, though he's apologized to his credit, and he bought rings for the entire front office to his credit. I'm over the Dan Gilbert stuff now. You go read that letter. You listen to Pat Riley. You listen to Phil Jackson. I'll stay out of the racial lane. It is the demeaning lane. And they're too smart to deny it. And I got into a conversation this morning. It was really funny with Christine Leahy. She brought up during our prep session this morning. Christine brought up a really interesting point. She said, we, as we do the show, we prep for the show. We kind of bring up topics and we kind of argue, go back and forth. And you started talking about, because the whole incident came down to, it was Thanksgiving. It was a one-night deal. They were on the road, and LeBron's like, guys. They were at home playing at Cleveland. LeBron's like, guys, let's just stay here for Thanksgiving. I want to be with my mom. And like Pat Riley was like, hard, fast rules, iron fist, no way. Let me ask you this. Would the New York Knicks be upset if they had LeBron and he stayed an extra night with his mom? How much would the New York Knicks and James Dolan pay? Would they be willing to let LeBron be a Knick? But on Thanksgiving, he could stay with his mom. Don't think they'd do it? James Dolan's net worth would go up $500 to $750 million, just like Dan Gilbert's did the minute LeBron arrived. You do realize that we hold press conferences for 16 and 17-year-old high school football players in America. They're in Amarillo and Midland, Texas, and Odessa, and Clearwater, Florida, and Sarasota, Florida, and Oceanside, California, and they're 17, 18 years old, and they line up hats, and the local news goes live, and the USA Today is there, and blogs are there, and we hold a press conference. We set precedents all the time. They do it at law firms and hedge funds and hospitals trying to recruit the top surgeon. And LeBron James, if indeed the story is true, and it appears to be, wanted to spend one night Thanksgiving extra at home, and anybody in the world would be upset with that. He was a member of the Miami Heat, so I guess it was a road game. And he wanted to spend one extra night, really. And you're just beside yourself. Let me tell you how it works. Let me tell you how it works on Wall Street. You give private jets to private equity guys who deliver. If Boston General and Johns Hopkins are trying to hire the top brain surgeon in America, private jet travel, free vacation homes. Nick Saban, you know what they did to the boosters did down in Alabama? They paid off his house. And LeBron James wants to spend, as a member of the Heat, one night. Get up in the morning, fly out. You're not going to let him do it? You have a problem with it? Because there's 30 other NBA teams that would be willing to sign that waiver for LeBron to do it. You got to be kidding me.
It was the whole team, not just him staying by himself.
Oh, my. Were they missing a game? Were they missing a tip-off? You do realize that when LeBron James went to Miami, the net worth of that team went up $500 million. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, the net worth of the Cavs goes up $500 million. The Cavs are on TV. I watched 70 Cav games a year. If LeBron wasn't on the team, I wouldn't watch him if they played hoop in my backyard. And you're going to tell me LeBron's not worth a night? 12 years in, he's not a diva. 12 years in, this guy's not a diva. He's helped out play. Everybody in the league wants to play with him. Every owner in the league wants him. Every GM in the league wants him. One night at home, and you're crestfallen. You're beside yourself.
It's natural for you to agree with that because you're not a huge Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday kind of guy. But think about all the rest. I'm just playing devil's advocate. All the other guys on the team, it's Thanksgiving for them too. And they're probably like, oh, I would like to spend Thanksgiving with my family, but we're saying just because of your family.
Okay, all the other guys on the team would be 30 and 52 if not for LeBron. Guess what? At every company I've worked at, there have been stars. They get extra stuff. If you don't want LeBron on your team, hey, Russell Westbrook. Hey, champ, how's that working without Kevin Durant? You just lost your fourth in a row to the Pistons blown out, and they didn't have their best player. LeBron is the new establishment. Deal with it. Maverick Carter, hour and a half. All fired up today.
Right in time for Thanksgiving season. Perfect timing.
Thanksgiving. I'm going to have a big festive.
You are?
Yes.
You didn't have that last year?
Well, I've traveled a lot. I've a lot of commerce. Sometimes I'm not in town. I have shows to do, but this year is, very nice.
You're going to have the turkey, the stuffing.
Ham and
with your family at home?
Pork rinds and Bud Light. I mean, all the festive things.
Bud Light, huh? Screams Thanksgiving.
877-757-HERD. I got NFL stuff. I got college football stuff. God, what a show today. Here's the bottom line. Any player complaining about LeBron James and Thanksgiving, let me ask you, you want cranberry sauce or you want wins? Like produce? How you like them apples? Hi, it's the Herd. Getting your mailing and shipping done seems like a no-win situation. Going to the post office takes up valuable time, leasing a postage meter expensive, and with multi-year commitments and hidden fees. Luckily, we know a better way. All of us do here. Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, it's simple. You buy and print official U.S. postage, the real stuff, for any letter or package, right from your own desk. That easy. You use your own computer and your own printer. You even get special postage discounts you will not find at the post office. Plus, Stamps.com is more powerful than a postage meter. At just a fraction of the cost, you can save at least 50% compared to a postage meter. Why wouldn't you use Stamps.com? And you'll never go to the post office again. Right now, sign up. Stamps.com. Use my promo code HERD for a 4-week trial plus a $110 bonus offer, including postage and a digital scale. It's amazing how good this offer is. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the mic, top of the homepage, and type in HERD. That's Stamps.com, enter HERD. Going to the post office? Never again. So the story, to me, the lead story today is Phil Jackson is the third NBA establishment guy. Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cavs, 1, Pat Riley, 2, and now Phil Jackson, that is not happy with how LeBron is running his business. And to that I say, how's Oklahoma City now that Kevin Durant left? In America, recruiting and changing the rules for stars is part of the American way. That's the way it operates in America. Hedge funds, hospitals, architectural firms, law firms, you even see it in academics. If you want the best professor and Harvard and Princeton are battling over them, you make exceptions. You create precedents for Madonna, Beyonce, Kanye, MJ, Messi. That's the reality of it. By the way, when Phil Jackson used the word posse, I'm going to stay out of the racial lane. Okay, let somebody else have that. I think it, though, is a slap at LeBron's guys. And Maverick Carter, who will appear in our show in 1 hour, went on Twitter last night and said, all the hard work, effort, and achievement, and Phil Jackson still calls us a posse. Every step you take, they remind you, you ghetto. Let me be clear, though, I'm not saying Phil's a racist. I'm calling out his disrespectful language. So I'll address that with Maverick Carter, that coming up in an hour. But this is one of these things where I just laugh at this stuff. When LeBron held his big decision, and it was clunky and it wasn't ideal, but he was a free agent. He'd been there 7 years, and they couldn't get him a good second player. So if you work at a company, if you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, and your principal can't get you the equipment, they can't upgrade your school after 7 years, and you have a contract, move on. After 7 years, Cleveland couldn't get him a number 2 player. How do I know that? Because LeBron left. They went back to the worst team in the league within 2 years. So I've always been for all these players. Everybody in the media, anti-Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's terrible. He's disloyal. You know what Kevin Durant is now? Winning with a better team, shooting a higher field goal percentage and taking fewer shots and scoring the same. What's happened to Russell Westbrook, who all the owners love and all the GMs love, and everybody loves Russell Westbrook in the NBA? Yeah, he's on a lousy team that's lost 4 straight. He had 35 points last night, 15 boards, 8 assists, and they got smoked by a crappy Detroit team who didn't even have their best player. Everybody wants to control these NBA guys. You can do that in the NFL. Maybe you can do that in hockey. But in the NBA, there's 4 or 5 players in this league that are absolutely more powerful than the commissioner. Now, LeBron's not a diva, and a commissioner would never allow that. I understand you got to protect the enterprise. But when GMs and coaches start getting chippy, you're not even in LeBron's galaxy. It's one thing for Adam Silver to punish him. He can do that. You want a commissioner to run the enterprise. It's another for an owner to say, listen, I don't feel doing this. But just know as an owner, GM, or coach in the NBA, if LeBron calls and you don't pick it up, then he'll beat you for the next 7 years. I just think this is a story about not being able to handle new and unique and powerful from young people. And people in the establishment, I'm getting older. I'm part of the establishment now. And I check myself all the time. I got to be comfortable with new voices, new people, new blogs, emerging businesses. It's a reality when you've had power, when you've had established, you've had brand, you've had success. I understand it's a natural inclination to push back, but that's all this is. Let's just acknowledge when they use the word posse, that is a way to shrink and marginalize LeBron's guys. And this recruiting stuff, Al Michaels used to work at my old company, right? ABC. And they didn't do private jets. And Al Michaels is like, come on, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm top of my business. If I got to go to Green Bay, I'm not flying Southwest Air. Okay? You're NBC. The game makes $250 million. Somebody give me a private jet for my road games in Kansas City and Green Bay, cities that are hard to get to. ABC said, no, we don't set a precedent. NBC said, we get Al Michaels? Yeah, we'll do it. That's the way business operates. You don't think the New York Knicks would let LeBron James stay the night with his family an extra night in Cleveland if they could have LeBron James? I mean, these owners crack me up. LeBron comes to your team, Kevin Durant comes to your team, your net worth goes up 45%, and you're not going to give them a night with their family? You're out of your gourd.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action. MyBookie.lv, an industry-leading website, is offering a 50% bonus when you join and deposit today. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie.lv. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Did the game already start? Don't sweat it. MyBookie offers in-game live action on all your favorite sporting events. Call 844-900-2387 or visit us online at mybookie.lv to open an account and claim your 50% bonus. Pull out your smartphone to sign up with our user-friendly mobile site for adrenaline on demand. What are you waiting for? Get in the game. Call now to claim your 50% bonus before it's gone. That's 844-900-2387 or go online to mybookie.lv to open an account and start winning today. Only the biggest, only the best, only at mybookie.lv. Sign up today.
College football is driving me crazy, and they deserve what they're getting. Here's the story. We got a bunch of teams in college football. One is clearly better than everybody else, Alabama. After that, it's pretty close. Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, Louisville, Washington, they feel pretty close. I believe Ohio State is the second best team. And 2 weeks ago and 1 week ago, I had them in my top 4, though nobody else did, because I'm not paralyzed by their one loss on the road, very close, to Penn State, when they led by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Penn State's going to be 10-2. They're one of the top 5-10 teams in America. But a lot of people wonder Will the committee allow Ohio State into the Final Four if they don't win the Big Ten? And to that I ask, why not? In the NFL, in the NBA, in the NHL, in Major League Baseball, you can be a wild card team and win a World Series, a Super Bowl, a Stanley Cup. Why be paralyzed by all these qualifiers? Why even have a committee? Just check the boxes. In college basketball, Connecticut was a 7 seed and won it all, meaning Connecticut, which wasn't ranked that year at the end, won a title and was not a top 24 team. And you wouldn't let Ohio State in a sport where not everybody plays everybody else in a conference because they lost to a potential 10-2 or 11-2 Penn State team on a last-second play on the road. You wouldn't allow, and they've blown out everybody else they've played. For the record, Urban Meyer took over play calling duties after that Penn State game. Now they're averaging 60 a Saturday. College football, you don't play everybody in your conference. So this is inevitable. The idea that you have to win a conference when you don't even play everybody in your conference. And because Penn State has a tiebreaker over Ohio State may not go to the championship. They'll be tied. And people say, you can't put them in. Why not? Why not? Again, Ohio State's destroyed unbeaten Nebraska by 59, beat Wisconsin on the road, beat Oklahoma on the road by 21. If they beat Michigan, they're 11-1. All those wins, you wouldn't let them in because they didn't win or end up in the Big Ten championship? Baloney. Every other sport allows you to be a wild. You could finish third in your division. In college basketball, you don't even have to be ranked. You'd have to beat a ranked team all year. You could be a champion. 11-1 Ohio State and 11-1 Washington. I don't even think it's close. I don't care if Washington wins the Pac-12. Ohio State's a better football team. Look at their schedule. Look at their wins. Look at their only loss. Washington was controlled at home by USC, pushed around. Ohio State pushed around Penn State for 3 hours and lost, barely. The tweets keep on coming in praise for Perky Jerky never stops at Joseph Bruno 17. Colin finally got around to getting some Perky Jerky. No joke, this is the best jerky out there, stocking up right now. Or how about at Kalik0509er, who sent a pic of his favorite bag and said, quote, hey, just because at Colin Coward said so, Perky Jerky, baby. I love it when you tell me about your first time. Don't shy away when it comes to Perky Jerky. Show us your tweets. Well, I've met Maverick Carter years ago. He just happened to be, he said, a fan of the show, so he stopped by my former employer and we hung out, and I really liked him. And but I will say, when Maverick and LeBron broke into this league and I heard about the Four Horsemen, I didn't know who they were. I had no idea. I was thinking, who are my high school buddies? We couldn't run an empire. So I think when they broke into the league, I was cynical too. But after 12 years, they have created production companies, apparel companies. They were initial stakeholders in Beats, made millions. Media platforms. They have built an empirical brand that is inarguably the best, at least domestically, without question. And yesterday, Phil Jackson's comments, as a very smart guy, calling them LeBron's posse. And it's Randy Mims and Rich Paul, and the one I know best is Maverick Carter, and he is joining us here in the herd. So when did you first of all, thanks, Mav, when you first heard it, were you angry?
Thanks for having me, Colin. I appreciate you having me on. When I actually read it, Phil is obviously a very smart guy.
Yes.
Phil is a very highly respected guy, if not the greatest, one of the greatest guys to ever coach basketball, and brought a whole different way of thinking about the game to it. So when I first read it, I was taken back, and then I became angry. And I became angry because we as people, we give words power. Like, a word is only as powerful as you or I or people make it.
Yeah.
So I happened to give that word power, and the power I gave that word was I took it as a little disrespectful. I wasn't upset that he told the story. I wasn't upset of him being like, you know, if LeBron needs special treatment, I don't want him on the New York Knicks. If he would have said that, I have no problem. He knows what he was saying when he said that. He knows why he said it. And I'm sure him and Pat are friends, so he got the story from Pat or whatever the story is, and he knows why he used that word.
I can understand if you were offended with the racial overtones. I saw it more as demeaning. He was trying to marginalize you and LeBron's management company, as it's all about LeBron, and you really are over your head. Did it racially bother you?
I mean, I'm no way calling Phil Jackson a racist. I've never met Phil Jackson, but there's no way I believe that he's a racist. But I think the word is disrespectful and demeaning, and I think that word is oftentimes used for young African Americans, whether it be in sports or entertainment. And I had a conversation. It's funny. I was talking to the owner of the Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert, who rolls around with 15 every game. He's 15, 10 of his. It's his wife and his kids, but it's also his best friends. They're his partners. And he says no one ever refers to us as a posse. So I'm not calling Phil racist, and I took it more as demeaning, to your point. That's how I took it. Yeah. I didn't take it as like a racial slur at all. I took it more as demeaning and disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I as I said, Mav, when you broke into the league, I was cynical. I mean, I was thinking, like, why don't they go to, like, CAA? And I mean, I was totally – do you understand for guys – when you came into the league to kind of question, who are these guys?
Absolutely. I was totally fine with that. I mean, that makes total sense. And there's one thing to question who are these guys or if they can do the job, because that happens, if somebody new became the CEO of GE, we go, well, wow, who is this person? Can they do this job? That's fine. It's fine to question it. But we've been around for LeBron's played in the NBA for 14 years. We've been doing this for 12 years and did all type of things. And the word is just, for him to use that, it was still demeaning to me after all of this time. That was kind of my point. And if you go back 12 years, if you want to say, use that word, or I don't know if they could do this, there was a great quote from a guy, I always laugh, but it was motivating at the time, who said LeBron hiring Maverick Carter to do this is like when he needs knee surgery, him hiring his plumber. I just thought it was funny. It was like, that didn't upset me because I understood it. Right. But 12 years later, it's demeaning to me.
When LeBron went back to Cleveland, he first had to accept Dan Gilbert's apology. And if you've listened to my show, and I know you have, I was angry for years with Dan Gilbert after that letter. I did think there was racial coding, and I think Dan Gilbert, as a good guy, accepted it, apologized for it, and I accept that apology, right? But when LeBron decided, I'm going to go back to Dan Gilbert, that doesn't mean necessarily, Mav, you agreed with it. Were you okay when LeBron said, I'm going to accept the apology? Was that a struggle within the group?
When LeBron first decided to go back to Cleveland, for me, it definitely was a struggle to get over accepting that. Absolutely. But LeBron said something to me, and he made me realize something. He says, Mav, we have to choose progress over pride, and this is a step to help progress. I want to go back and help, where I'm from, the people where I'm from. I need to help them show that I can be a progressive person and move forward. So I know it's prideful to you. It's prideful to me also that he said those words, but we're going to make progress and push forward. And that's when he made up with Dan. I said, I get that. That makes total sense. Progress over pride made sense to me.
Maverick Carter, co-partner, LRMR Management, LeBron James business manager, is joining us in the herd. One of the three guys who grew up with LeBron at St. Vincent and St. Mary's High School in Akron, Ohio. They were initially known as the Four Horsemen. Now they're just his business partners. Maverick, when you were in Los Angeles, and I said this morning, I didn't see it as a racial story, though I understood that. I saw it as a rich, entitled power brokers, and there's a new guy in town and a new business in town. When you went to Miami, I mean, clearly with Cleveland and Ohio right now, there is warmth. There is a deep feeling for the city, its economy, and its people. But did you always feel a little bit, and I don't want to put you in a position to speak for LeBron, but with Pat Riley, there's an aloofness. And did you ever really feel totally all in Miami?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when to your point, I'm not speaking for LeBron, but I spent a lot of time around the Heat and with Miami, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And they really, Pat and Mickey run a first-class organization. It's a fantastic place. And I felt a part of it, absolutely. I know besides Pat and Mickey, all the people who work in and around the team, the business people, the administration, the coaches. I definitely felt a part of it, absolutely. Now, you always understand that Pat's in charge. That is clear, and he makes that very clear, and everybody knows that. And I respected that, and I understand that because he's a very well-accomplished man, and he's respected, and he deserves that level of respect. So you always knew he was in charge, and it was his way. And I don't care who you were, LeBron James or anyone else, it ran Pat's way. But you respected him, and you understood that, and it worked. They won 2 championships. They went to 4, so it really worked. I think, to your point, Phil, Pat, they're probably really close friends. I don't know. I've never met Phil. But this is more about, to your point, of like new guy, new way of thinking, new model in town, and it's not sitting so well with them.
By the way, the Thanksgiving incident they talked about that LeBron wanted to stay an extra day doesn't bother me. If Ronaldo, Messi, Michael Jordan, I mean, the New York Knicks would die for you to ask LeBron to stay another night. So can we just go to that? Was that a big deal? Do you remember that?
I don't remember it because I don't travel with the team. And to your point, I live in L.A. now. The LeBron plays in Cleveland. I've never traveled with the team. But the fact of the matter is when he says special treatment, you know, you've had Jimmy Johnson on the show, and I've heard him tell the Troy Aikman story many times. Like, what is special treatment? Of course you treat people different. Things happen. I mean, and if players, not just LeBron, asked to stay over all the time in the NBA. I've seen it all the time. Guy goes into a town where he's from, whatever. The coach says, we don't have practice till late tomorrow. Stay over, get your own flight back. Or, you know, we're in L.A. We don't play in Denver for 2 more days, so we'll stay a night in L.A. and everybody can have a nice dinner and enjoy L.A. So I see it all the time. But and the fact of the matter is, Colin, I would have had no problem if Phil would have said, you know what, LeBron requires treatment, or LeBron, his business partners, or LeBron, his friends, or LeBron, his agent, require things that we don't like, so we would never take him on the New York Knicks. But he knew what he was saying.
Yeah. You know, you could always ask LeBron if he wanted to come on my show. I'd be willing to listen if he...
Listen, I tell him I love your show. I listen to it every morning. I think it's brilliant. I think it would be smart of him to do that.
I think it would be brilliant of him to do that.
I think it'd be brilliant.
I think it would be the smartest thing I've ever heard in my whole life.
Well, I think you and him are 2 of the smartest guys that I listen to talk all the time. So hearing you guys have a conversation would just be like, it'd be intelligence overload for me.
Well, you're just going to have to learn to handle that and get him on. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, Maverick.
Thank you, Colin.
Catch the Herd from noon to 3 Eastern on iHeartRadio and FS1.
You know, it's funny that when we come in as a staff, we do homework, and I don't know if I'm bragging about it, but I'm proud of the homework we do. And you know, there's been this thing in college football: who's the best conference? And I've always said it's the SEC. Although I do think because of smart coaching hires, the Big Ten is gaining on it. But I still think the SEC is the best conference. And I just looked at an NFL mock draft that came out from my former employer. 12 of the 32 players, SEC. So I think James Franklin's revival of Penn State, Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, Mark D'Antoni are terrific coaches. And I think Wisconsin's been one of the stories of the year. And I think they're gaining on the SEC. But don't kid yourself. Everybody said the SEC is down this year. Alabama, A, is easily the best team in the country. But did you watch the Monday Night Football game last night? Did you see the 3 touchdown passes from Eli? Or the touchdown catch from Odell Beckham? Or the touchdown catch from A.J. Green? Or the touchdown run from Jeremy Hill? Or the touchdown reception from Jarrell Adams? Or the interception by Drake Kirkpatrick? Or the interception by Landon Collins? Or the sack by Geno Atkins? And the sack by Robert Thomas? They're all from the SEC. Every touchdown pass, touchdown reception, run, sack, pick. Now, Andy Dalton did go to TCU. But look at that Monday Night Football game last night. Look at the playmakers. The touchdown catch guys, the touchdown run guys, the interception guys, the sack guys. All SEC. Ole Miss, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina, Bama, Georgia, Arkansas. The depth is remarkable. There's nothing close to it. Take Alabama out. The NFL is still littered with incredible talent from the SEC. But we were digging this up this morning. Got to congratulate my staff. That game last night was a showcase of SEC talent. Alabama's the best team in the country. I do think if you privately ask Nick Saban, who would you not want to play, he would say either Urban Meyer or Bobby Petrino. I think he would like to play Harbaugh since Harbaugh's quarterback is now out for the year. I think Bobby Petrino, who coached in the NFL, and Urban Meyer, who would make Nick nervous. But don't kid yourself. This sport, in fact, I would say to its detriment, this sport is overwhelmingly run by one conference. It's in the South, the SEC.
All 3 hours of The Herd are always streaming on the Herd channel on the iHeartRadio app. Herd Hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to college. Number 10.
Philadelphia Eagles have very good line play. How do I know that? Second in the NFL in time of possession. They beat you up and push up front, and they're near the NFL lead in sacks. They lead the average NFL in starting position, meaning their defense puts their offense in very good position. The problem for Philadelphia, why I have them ranked 10th, they're 0-4 in close games. That's the problem with a rookie quarterback. Eagles at 10.
Number 9.
I've not been hot on the Broncos this year. Out of respect for the coach and the defense, I'll put them at 9. Bronco fans have been screaming, Cowherd, you were wrong. Don't forget, they've got the toughest remaining schedule in the NFL, and I don't think they win more than half of those games, even though they're tied for the NFL lead in sacks and second in the NFL in takeaways.
Number 8.
A team I've been hot on and betting on for 4 straight weeks, the Tennessee Titans. They don't play any defense, but to just see them against Green Bay since week 5, they lead the NFL in points per game, just shy of 34. DeMarco Murray, good offensive line, nice weapons, and Marcus Mariota has been exceptional, especially in the red zone. Titans at 8.
Number 7.
Raiders slightly better because they're better on the road. They're coming off a bye week playing Mexico City. They are great in close games, and they are great up front offensively. Allowed the second fewest sacks in the league. They are atrocious defensively. Yeah. Total defense is 30th. They're bad passing defense. They're bad yards per play. They're bad rushing defense. You can't win a Super Bowl, though you can get to the playoffs when you're a one side of the ball team.
Number 6.
Atlanta's the other side of the ball. And I give them a slight edge over the Raiders. Weaker division, probably get more wins, could have a bye into the playoffs. They lead the NFL in all the big play stats. Their running game, though, pay attention, bettors, is slowing down over the last month.
Number 5.
Kansas City, I have so much respect for Andy Reid. 5 straight wins. They never turn it over. The offense is converting, though, only about 34% of the third downs. What does that tell you? They got to play perfect to win. They're not dynamic. They do not go over the top. This is about coaching and smart football, and if the turnover differential's in their favor, they're a team capable of winning, I think, 1 playoff game.
Number 4.
4 best teams in the league. Let's start with Pittsburgh. They've played the hardest schedule. Now they will play the easiest schedule remaining. The bad news, they don't get to the quarterback. The good news, they lead the NFL next to Atlanta in plays over 20 yards. A lot of fun to watch. Can't stop a nosebleed. Got them at 4.
Number 3.
Dallas Cowboys have the best record and best point differential, second in yards per play, lead the NFL in rushing. I still have concerns, though, about their pass defense and their pass rush. They don't make other offenses uncomfortable.
Number 2.
New England. They're rushing the ball almost 50% of the time. What does that tell you? They're built to win a playoff game, and they're built to win in cold weather. They're 4-0 on the road, and they've got an easier schedule down the stretch. Very easy. This is a bye team, a division winner, hosting a game. You'll have to go to Foxborough and Brady and Belichick. I don't love their defense, but I don't love a lot of defenses in the NFL.
Number 1.
Seattle. I love the way Russell Wilson played. He's finally healthy. Now he's got a perimeter star in Doug Baldwin. They've got a pass rush. They're deep at running back. They get to the quarterback. The most complete team in the NFL. Still don't love their offensive line, but it's a small criticism.